From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
With me now is Elena Cardone, and she is a realtor with EXP Real Estate Realty, and she's also an author of the book Build an Empire, How to Have It All. I need to finish reading that, I think. And by the way, what she's going to do today, what she and I are going to talk about, is how to help you out there sell your home. The market is good for selling homes, but there are some things you need to know, and she has the experience and knows exactly what to do. Elena, tell me, what you've written down cleanliness counts. What are you talking about with cleanliness counts as far as someone's house and they're about to sell it?
Well, you only have, in this case, one time to make an impression with a buyer. So first impressions do count here. You don't normally get that second opportunity in this particular market. And only 10% of people are able to visualize, meaning 90% of people can't visualize. Therefore, if they walk into a house that doesn't smell good, it's dirty, the carpets aren't vacuumed, there's dishes in the sink, it leaves a very distasteful, bad impression. They want to leave and hightail it out there as soon as possible. So the first and easiest step to take here is just make sure that like I said, the carpets are vacuumed, the walls have touched up paint. I even go so far as to, when I'm going to show a house, I have my showing house bedding, so I can just whip off the old bedding and make something look beautiful, crisp, clean. Someone wants to walk into an environment and visualize them inhabiting it and feeling safe and warm and good. Flowers is always good, and a nice smell, air fresheners or candles, without being overpowering. But sometimes as homeowners, you don't realize that your house may have a particular smell, especially if you have a pet, because you're immune to the smell. And so you want to have to be aware and cognizant of that and really create the space so that it really feels clean. Wash the windows. How does the front curb look? Does it have good curb appeal? Do you need to invest in some fresh mulch? Or, it doesn't have to be a high expense value, but you want everything to look clean, manicured, simple, nothing too alarming. And so that's why I say cleanliness counts. It goes a long, long way.
I'll just throw in one other hint. When I sold my first house ever, my wife baked some bread just before the people got there, and I put a little fire in the fireplace, and we did all the other things that you suggested. We sold it to the first person that looked at it. So
exactly. Yeah. That is another tip. I'll never show a house without all of the TVs on, without all the lights on, as much open natural daylight as I can bring in. The fireplace should be on, all of the features. You definitely want to highlight the focal and the features of the house and sort of downplay and divert the eye away from the weaknesses of the house. So yes, it doesn't surprise me that you sold it that fast, because you were doing the right things.
Thank you. Now, one of the things you mentioned when you said to focus on the basics is that it's really not that expensive. It doesn't cost that much for some of the things you just mentioned. It's not hard to vacuum in the corners and do those things, is it?
Yeah, in today's market, especially in the average price point, it's a buyer's market right now. So you don't have to do these massive renovations that maybe you had to do previously, but you do have to take that step to make it nice and presentable. So easy things. You can go to Home Depot and just get some fresh caulking, make sure, there's no mold, get rid of the scrub marks on the shower, or a new shower curtain. Like I said, you could do mulch in the front lawn, or trimming back, have a gardener come in and get rid of all the front yard clutter. So, and touch up paint, especially if you have a colored wall. Market research shows that most people, a high percentage of people, prefer a white, neutral, light grays. They don't like anything too alarming, or like blue, like a bright blue, a bright red, a purple. Like some of these colors are not so great for most buyers. So it's like what I tell my seller. I ask them when I first sit down with them, I say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you and how badly do you want to sell your home? And most of them say a 10. But then we get into going into the process of what needs to be done. And I'll recommend that, they just change the color of the walls to a white. Well, I don't want to do that. I love that. I said, but remember, you told me you were a 10. You said you wanted to do this. I love the red walls. I love your flair and your character, but market research, you see, I have the data that substantiates what I'm telling them. So I'm not rubbing them the wrong way. I said, look, they're buying your house, not your interior design. And then you said you're a 10, we're going to invest the 40, 50 bucks in some paint, and we're going to get this house sold for you because you told me you were a 10. So I use market research always to substantiate what I need the buyer to do to get the house up to speed.
Very good.
But again, it doesn't have to be much. I'm not saying go rip out your kitchen and replace it with marble. I'm saying, hey, the handles, maybe we just need to change the handles. It's not a big expense, but you'd be surprised how it can really change the look and freshen and brighten up a space.
Speaking of brightening up, one of your tips is
have some fresh fruit, some colorful fruit in the kitchen.
Very good. One of your hints is to let there be light. Can you explain that for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the market research, this is your stable data. It just shows people like bright, they like light, they want to see, they don't, dark colors tend to naturally just make one feel gloomy or introspective or a little more introverted. And that's not what people like traditionally. They like bright. So any opportunity I have to take down really heavy curtains and just really let in light and have all the lights on, I always get to a property early and really set it up so it can present itself in its best possible light.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
pun intended.
Now we're going to depersonalize, and I can certainly understand that. I've lived in the house I'm in now for a long time. I'd have to get rid of my kudu horn and some other things like that. But explain to us how to depersonalize. What are some things we should take off the shelves?
Well, you have to allow a buyer to walk into a space and visualize their life there, not your life there. The house is selling not just a roof over someone's house head, but it's also selling a fantasy of what they're going to get at your house. What is it? I can create my family and I'm going to be happy and safe here. And so if they walk into a place and they see all you everywhere, photos of you, your family, your dog, the bowls, monogram pillows everywhere, everything screams, this is not my house. Somebody else lives here. And again, I told you, only 10% of people have the ability to visualize beyond what they see. So 90% of people you're going to turn off. So get rid of all the monogrammed pillows that you have anywhere. Or if you like, octopuses, or sharks, and your whole house is shark themed. Pull them all down, depersonalize it. Certainly remove all of your kids' photos, your wedding photos. They're beautiful, they're lovely. I know you were able to create a beautiful home for yourself, but allow somebody else to come in and try to visualize themselves there. So take out all of those particulars that it turns off their mind from seeing themselves.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned will be helped by having good light inside the house, and that's have the place photographed. If you're going to sell your house, it's good to hire a photographer to come in and take pictures of the house.
This is one of the most crucial steps nowadays in particular. The common person is very savvy. They use the internet. It's like we're the dating app of the century here, and homes are no different. They're going to swipe through and see photographs and base an opinion. A lot of times people are buying sight unseen now, and more often than not over the price of asking. So it's really important to have a professional photographer come in and really understand the lighting, be able to understand what's the focal point of the room that you're trying to accentuate, and show the picture so that when they're swiping on the app, you captivate their attention and they want to stay and show interest in your house. So it surprises me all the time when I see photos, the TVs aren't on, like you said, the fireplace isn't lit in a photograph. It's dark, I can't really see. It makes a tremendous amount of difference. If you were to hold a before and after picture of the same room, one with professional photographs and one more on an amateur level, you'd be shocked at the difference that it makes in the quality and appearance of the home, of the property.
Yeah, iPhone makes a great camera. I shouldn't be advertising here, but iPhone makes a great camera, but we don't take great pictures always. And so it's better to have someone who's taken thousands of pictures and knows exactly where to put the camera, how to set the lights, what's appealing, all those things.
Right. And the photographer that you hire, especially if this is what they do for their business, is to showcase homes, they also will rearrange the furniture, restage certain things, and really optimize the look of the room to heighten its full potential, as I said earlier. But the benefit of that also is oftentimes the sellers will see how they repositioned and actually like it better. And oftentimes I encourage them to keep it the way that we kept it in the photo, because more often than not, the professional trained eye typically is better than the seller's eye, who might not just be aware or might be too invested in how much they love certain things to realize that even though they like that thing, other people, and probably the majority of other people, don't.
Okay. The price is right. That's one of your topics. And that's got to be a problem for people. They think their house is just worth so much. How did they handle that?
Well, I always go back to market research. Pricing is really important, especially because it is a buyer's market. The sellers tend to think that their home is worth more than it is, but you have to understand the buyer is more savvy now than ever before, and they have access to data and research, and it's really the buyers that are determining the market right now. So if you set a price too high, you won't even get the price range of cesspool to even come look at your home, because you just alienated all of them. They won't look at it. So what I tell them is, is the ones that are really sort of stubborn about it, I set expectations from the top, and I say, okay, if this is where we're going, let's go. I'll mark it. These are the strategies that will get into place. But after 3 weeks, if we don't have any showings and no one's calling, would you then at that point consider of lowering it? Because sometimes, especially in the market today, I would rather position the price competitively, or even slightly under, and come in with the multiple offers. And that's what's happening when people are priced accurate, more realistically. So it's just kind of working with the buyer and explaining what's being sold, what's happening. You just have to break it down to numbers. The easiest way I can say this is, look, if you have X amount of dollars that you want to sell your home for, I have to do the research as a realtor and say, this is all the other equivalents of the houses that are this price in your market. How long have they been on the market? If you price it at this point, okay, based on the data analysis, it will take a year to sell your home, because that's when you get into, see, I don't want to get too confusing here, but when you get into different price points, okay, you have to be willing to understand when it's a buyer's market and then when it turns into a seller's market. And then you have to know, okay, between X price range and Y price range, we have a buyer's market. So, okay, all of that inventory is going to get eaten up. But in some of the high end or the luxury, perhaps, then it sort of reverts and it goes back to more of a seller's market. So you have to just educate your seller on where his house fits in it and what he's potentially doing, putting them in whatever category. What category do you want to be in? Higher price, takes longer to sell? Or do you want to be in the right category and have multiple offers and see where we go from there? And most of the time I tell them, hey, you said you were at 10, you wanted to get this sold, let's do this. And then I remind them where they're at and get their head right and sort out their expectations so that we can get a deal done.
Does a buyer also have a realtor helping them to make negotiations over the selling price of a house?
Well, yes, of course. Hopefully, hopefully, the buyer does have an agent. And then, that really helps out, because behind the scenes, the two agents' jobs are to, of course, each agent wants to get the highest and best price for their client, but they're also realistic in figuring out, how they got to the price and negotiations, and being able to separate a lot of the emotion out of it on behalf of the client, so that the terms can be drawn up and met to where both sides feel great and like they won. So ultimately, that's the end goal, getting the deal done where both parties feel mutually happy about it.
You've mentioned this already, but one of the things, the last one of our hints here is to work with the realtor. Besides just talking to you every once in a while, what sort of cooperation would you like to have from the person you were selling the house for?
What kind of cooperation do I want from a seller? I want them to, I want them to have fun with the experience. I want them to really understand the data and where the knowledge is coming from, and be able to understand the math behind it. Again, the data research, and then somebody who's willing to take the necessary steps or advice in order to facilitate getting their house sold. So when they're willing to move off of their fixed ideas and be open and willing to make a change that then gets their house sold, those are my favorite people to work with, because in the end, they're very grateful and very thankful, and they're happy. So I want to see my clients happy and have a really good experience knowing that I fought really hard for them to optimize their dollar and their time and their trust. So that's why I say work with Realtor. There's so many things along the negotiations and trying to find a lender and an inspector and the numerous points from A to closing that if you are inexperienced and you're trying to save money, not paying your realtor that 3% or whatever it is, in the long run, you end up paying twice as much because you encounter circumstances that you didn't know that then cost you in the long run. So I say, look, just pay the price to the realtor and know that everything is taken care of from start to finish, and it's worth it. And you don't have the stress of having to deal with all of that, because it does get stressful, believe me. So I think an experienced professional will save you a lot of heartache and your purse strings.
Obviously, EXP is an excellent real estate company. You've done a wonderful job here so far today. Talk to me about your book.
My book.
Yes. We've got
Build an Empire. That's what you said,
yes,
right?
That's
So
what
I
I
wrote a
want.
book called
Yeah.
Build an Empire, How to Have It All. My husband and I own almost 10,000 apartment units all over the Southeast region of the United States. So I have a major passion for real estate. I love it. My husband, Grant Cardone, met the founder at eXp Realty. And all of a sudden I realized I could become a licensed realtor. Not only would that help me in addition to what we're doing with Cardone Capital, but it would really give me the opportunity to explore the eXp model and how I can help other people build an empire. So I wrote this book. It's about taking massive action. It's about securing a future for yourself, leaving a legacy, having the mindset to get it all accomplished. And now my legacy is to help anyone who wants to fast track their way to success do so, which is why I am now a realtor with eXp, because this is the vehicle of how I can help other people build their empires through real estate. So it's an exciting venture for me. To be able to help other people build and secure their long-term empire.
Okay, I want to say that in order to get ready for this interview, I watched several of the things you're on YouTube, and it's very enjoyable to get to watch you. You're quite a speaker, and you started your career as an actress. Tell me why you gave up acting and decided to become a big business owner.
Okay. So yes, I was an actress. I moved to Los Angeles at 17 years old. Oh my gosh, the bravery. I wish I had more of that today, but yeah, 17, I moved out to Los Angeles to become an actress. I was a successful actress for many years. In 2008, I had been married to my husband, Grant Cardone, for 4 years. When the economy collapsed, we were on the verge of losing everything. I was pregnant with our first child. We were under a lawsuit for the first time. This was a big eye opener to me that, actually people attempted to con you for money. So I was not in a good position in 2008. So my only purpose back then became to surviving and not losing it all. And so I decided I was going to trade in my acting career in order to trade up to this potential thing of an empire. And I decided to throw all of my strengths behind my husband and support him with building our empire into what it is today. It turned out to be a very wise move for me. It was my first entrepreneurial move. I went all in, took a big risk. It was very kind of scandalous, I guess, in my mind, to be this. I was raised to be this strong, independent woman, and now I was giving up my career to support a man. It was scary, but I have found that we are an excellent team and we each know our roles, and it's based on it's delegated based on strengths and weaknesses, not on male and female, but we really figured out how to come together as a team and a unit to push each other and ourselves as a couple into a heightened level of success. And I do write about that in my book because I'm interested, my legacy play now, different than in 2008. 2008, my only purpose was to survive and not lose it all. In 2021, my purpose is to build empires for others. I want to create financial awareness and freedom, and fast track other people's way to success. That's going to be my legacy play. I'm not going to be known for the planes, the helicopters, or the 10,000 apartments that we have and have amassed. I'll be known for the lives that I helped change and make a difference in. So that's why now I'm on a mission to help all the other, I call it the little people, just like me, all those little people out there. I want to keep the curtains open. Oftentimes when people hit a certain status in life or achieve wealth or whatever you want to call that, they close the curtains. I understand why. They're trying to protect themselves. But my husband and I vowed, good, bad, ugly, we'll keep the curtains open so that all the other people just like us. I'm just a little girl from New Orleans, Louisiana, who never went to college and certainly wasn't supposed to be here, blessed, speaking with you today. So for all the other people out there that were in my shoes, we keep the curtains open to help you fast your way to success, so it doesn't take you about 12 years that it took me. Let's do it in 4.
Okay. Thank you, Elena. You've done a wonderful job here today and been an inspiration. I appreciate your being on the show and wish you many more years of big success. And
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
you.
having me on today. I appreciate you.
Okay. And thank you for watching.